Hello, all you lovely, lovely people out there. Don't you like the intro? Well, I stole it from Stephen, another English guy wandering around the jungle, talking to himself and you. You know, do you listen to the voices in your head, the thoughts that go around your brain? I do. I think most of us do. But the problem with that is that when we do that, we start questioning our own thoughts. And by doing so, maybe we can alter our life. You know, when I first came down to Manila after my trip to vegan and wandering around, the voices in my head said, wow, this is such a pretty city. I'm talking about vegan, that is. And I was enjoying the peace in my own mind of being there on my own. But no sooner did I get back to upload and edit the video, those voices changed and became, are you sure you're on your own? Well, it doesn't matter what we think. People will think things regardless. And that's the point. We are damned if we do, and we're damned if we don't. The problem here in the Philippines is that so many of the ladies that we may come across and meet and make friends with, you realize after a little while that they often fall into the same category. They love to gossip. They say they don't, but they do. They love to talk to their neighbors. Naturally, that's what we're as human beings expected to do. If we sat in our homes and said nothing to anybody, we would be called recluses. If we talked to people outside in the street and up the road, we'd be called a gossip. You see, it's just human nature. But the one thing that we all share is we share our own thoughts. They're in our heads. They're able to work out, to construct, to decide, to adventure out as a result of our own thoughts. I just wonder if a Filipino can understand where we're coming from. When we say one thing and they hear another, it's a confusion because we think we've sorted all the problems out in our head. And when we open our mouths and tell them about it, we hope and pray that what we're saying is understood in the same manner. But I'll pretty well guarantee that 50% of you out there find that not possible. It's not that you don't love your lady, that you don't care for her, that you don't want her to understand what you're saying. But there just isn't the capability for her to put together a total sentence and understand the purpose in it. You know, the cat sat on the mat. Simple enough expression. The rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain. Again, another simple statement. But what does it mean? For me, the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain. I think she's got it. My fair lady. The cat sat on the mat. I don't know where that came from, but I remember my mother telling us the cat sat on the mat. I think she was trying to say the same as the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain. About pronunciation, getting your vowels right, getting the words out properly. I don't know what a mother would say if she was talking like this. Yeah, the rain in Spain stays mainly on the plain, mate. Or the cat sat on the mat. We all learn in different ways. But sometimes when you move on in the West, you get divorced, you separate, you move on, you start a new life with a new partner, maybe having more children, creating extended families. Your family from before, in other words, your children from before, come and stay weekends with their brothers and sisters. Sorry, half brothers and half sisters. Again, the mix changes and things happen. And is the wife, the ex-wife, jealous that you're now living with another one? Is she pumping the kids to find out what your dad is up to? Has he bought a new car? What's the new house like? All those things are the same as jealousy, envy, and inquisitiveness. But for a Filipino, that sort of mindset is there all the time. There's always this feeling that somehow you try and let go, but they keep you there with the reminder of maybe what you had before. Just little things. We're expected never to mention their name again. We're expected to never weave into a conversation an event that happened to you, a similar event, trying to explain to that new one how you felt and how things were. Inevitably, what they'll do is keep reminding you that somehow you're talking about the other person all the time, when in fact you're not. You're talking about your life. And it's very hard. I mean, not many of us have got the skill to talk about, well, as a friend of mine, should we all start our conversation? A friend of mine or an acquaintance of mine had this problem with this person, and this is how he handled it. Should the future with your next girlfriend, your next wife, your next partner, companion, be devoid of anything that you ever did in your life before? Or is it unreasonable for you not to protest a little that maybe they're the ones that are keeping the memories alive, the thoughts, the doubts, when you're trying to move on to a new life? Of course, your ex doesn't know that this is going on behind your or her back, but the reality is they're keeping it going. The new one keeps it going with all of these innuendos, little hints, and carry on. So what do? You say, whoa, hang on a minute. That's not the way things are. That's what we would normally do. That makes common sense to me. They always say don't talk about your ex. True, I agree. But there are moments in your life, especially when you're 70-something, to refer to times when you were with number one or number two or number five or number nine in cases of being Elizabeth Taylor. But the reality is that we cannot hide our past. They are what makes us today what we are right now. And if we learn by our mistakes, we share those mistakes with somebody that we want to move forward with, that should be a positive. But it's a hard positive to get to the surface. To remove the past is, I think, sometimes a little fatal. What do you think? My thought for the day, guys. Have a lovely grumpy Easter. Bye now.